I know last week we talked about reviewing um, the slope, and I said, that's something we're going to use later. Well, this is when we're going to be using it. Okay, so here I have to classify the lines as parallel, perpendicular, or neither. I'm going to be working questions 27 and 28. Now, parallel, the difference between these two, there's three cases. Parallel are two lines that never intersect. And those are lines that are, in order for them to never intersect, they have the same slope. Okay, so the slope is the same on both lines. Perpendicular, perpendicular are lines that cross at 90 degrees. So they do cross, but specifically at 90 degrees. The interesting part, the slopes are negative reciprocals of each other. What does that mean? Negative reciprocals of each other. The signs are different. Okay? And they are reciprocals. Reciprocals when you flip a fraction. So for example, let's say one slope, I have the one line is 3 over 5. The other is going to be negative 5 over 3. So negative, the signs are different. So that's what I call a negative and reciprocal. The numbers flip. Another example. Let's say I have the number negative 2. That's the slope of one line. Well, the slope of the other line is going to be positive 1/2 because 2 technically is 2 over 1. So flip it and it gives you 1/2. So parallel, same slope. Perpendicular, the slopes are negative reciprocals of each other. And then neither, well, is not parallel or perpendicular. Looking at this question here, question number 27, classify the lines. They're definitely not parallel because I see them crossing. If they do cross at 90 degrees, they're perpendicular. If the degrees that they're crossing is not 90 degrees, then is neither. Now, the way I'm going to find this is by finding the slope. So looking at one line, let me find 2 points. 2 points that I can see the coordinates of them, okay? So let me use this point. I can see the coordinates of that one, and let me use this point. I really just need 2 points. Now the slope, remember basically the directions of one point to the other. So I'm gonna say, well, first up or down, right? So I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna count my squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. So my slope on this one is positive 4. The top number is positive 4 because I went up 4. If I would have gone down 4, then it's negative, right? I went up 4. And then I'm gonna travel to the right. I'm gonna travel to the right 2 squares. If I would have traveled to the left, it's negative. But here, 4 over 2, 4 divided by 2, isn't that 2? So the slope of this line is 2. Let's take a look at the other line. Now, first of all, I'm not going to find this point. I cannot see the coordinates of that point, right? So use points where you can see the coordinates of them. You can see that it crosses that at the corner of points. So I'm going to use that point, and let's use this point. Does it matter which points I choose? No, it really does not. You might get bigger numbers because what if somebody might say, well, what if I want to pick this point right here and this point right here? I want to pick them that far apart. Fine, fine. It's just that your distance is going to be bigger. But once you simplify, if it happens to be the same fraction, I will get. So I'm just going to choose points that are close by. I might have to simplify it even more, but at least I'm dealing with smaller numbers. So remember, I'm going to travel from one point to the other. So to begin with, I'm going down. So then I'm going down 2 squares, right? So because I'm going down, that's going to be a negative 2. And then I travel to the right. Again, I'm traveling from one point to the other. I count my squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, -2/4, it's a negative. If there's a negative sign, whether it's on the top or the bottom, bring it to the front. 2/4, if I divide each number by 2. So see, this is why I say simplified. If I divide each number by 2, gives me 1/2. So let me compare my two fractions. My two slopes. Okay, different signs. That's good. They're reciprocal of each other, right? Because 1/2, flip it, it's 2/1, which is simplified as 2. So they're negative reciprocals of each other. So I'm going to call this perpendicular. If you have the same slope, boom, parallel. If you have different slopes, but they're not negative reciprocals of each other, then neither. Good. Let's take a look at number 28. Now here, I don't have the picture. Okay. So it says one line passes through the points A, B. Okay. So that means let's use the points A, B. I'm going to find the slope of the line AB. Okay. So I remember for the slope, let me remember the formula here at the side. The slope, the second y minus the first y over the second x minus the first x. So let me subtract the y's. -7 minus a -1. Some of you might be like, Mr. Lunzo, can I use the trick that we use for distance, starting from the bigger numbered, so I avoid negatives? In this case, no. In this case, we cannot do it because we don't square the answer. That's a trick that can be used only for distance, but not in slope. Okay, at the bottom, the second x minus the first x. All right, so let's take a look. These two negative signs become a plus sign. -7 plus 1 is -6. Here at the bottom, these two negative signs become a plus sign. 4 plus 5 becomes 9. I do see a negative sign, so I bring it to the front. Again, it doesn't matter if you have it on the top or the bottom, just bring it to the front. 6/9, I can simplify each number by dividing by 3. Right, I'm going to simplify it, divide each by the same thing, just to make the number smaller. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So my slope is -2/3. Remember, you will have to type in it as -2 backslash 3. Okay. Then let me continue reading. Another line, right? I'm reading from up here. Another line passes through the point C and D. So I see the points C and D. So let me find the slope of the segment CD. So the second y minus the first y. So I'm going to go 8 minus 4. At the bottom, the second x, so the x of the second point minus the x of the first point. So 8 minus a -1. On the top, 8 minus 4 is 4. At the bottom, these two negative signs become a plus sign. 8 plus 1 is 9. Now, I cannot divide this. And don't think we're going to do the square root, because the square root of 4 is 2, the square root of 9 is 3. We're not going to do square roots. We're just dividing. There's nothing I can divide him by to make him smaller. So I see the slopes are different. They're not negative reciprocals of each other. Therefore, my answer here will be neither.